Welcome to Commerce class. This is Unit 3, Chapter 8, Security Exchange Board of India. Today we are going to see the powers of SEBI. What are the various powers of SEBI in a stock exchange? First and the foremost is powers relating to stock exchange and intermediaries. What is the power is? Here they say it has all the rights to ask information from the stock exchange and intermediaries regarding the transaction. So அவங்க என்னென்ன transaction பண்ணாங்க அப்படிங்கிற எல்லா information வந்து SEBI can demand them to submit the books of accounts for inspection and scrutiny, and it can be for any other purpose. So it can ask any information from stock exchange and intermediaries regarding the transaction whatever has taken place, and as a proof they can even inspect and go for a scrutiny work. Next one, to impose, power to impose monetary penalties. Monetary penalties எப்போ impose பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா when they deviate from or when they violate the rules, அதாவது imposing fine, அவங்க மேல fine அவங்க கட்ட சொல்றது. Okay, so it is empowered to impose monetary penalty on capital market intermediaries and other participants. So கேபிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்ல இன்டர்மீடியட்ஸ் அண்ட் மற்ற பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் கிட்டையும் வயலேட் பண்ணாங்க, ரூல்ஸை வயலேட் பண்ணாங்கன்னா அவங்க கிட்ட வந்து தே கேன் இம்போஸ் மானிட்டரி பெனால்டி. ஸோ தே கேன் ஈவன் சஸ்பெண்ட் தெம் ஃபார் அ ஷார்ட் பீரியட் ஆஃப் டைம் ஸோ தட் தே வுட் ரெகுலேட் தெம் செல்ஃப். ஓகே. Third point, initiate action in functions assigned. So they can SEBI can also ask them to do a particular type of work, giving them the guidelines to different intermediaries or introduce specific rules for protecting the interest of investors. So they themselves can initiate the action. Yaar is SEBI. Next, power to regulate insider trading. So if those who are there in the stock exchange or the intermediaries, if they take advantage of some secret information to make it money or to go in for a transaction, then that must be avoided. Okay, so power to regulate insider trading. Next one, powers under Securities Contract Act. Under the Security Contract Act, SEBI has empowered by the Finance Ministry. Finance Ministry வந்து SEBIக்கு கொடுத்திருக்கிற பவர் என்ன அப்படின்னா, to nominate 3 members in the governing body of every stock exchange. So ஒரு stock exchangeலையும் SEBIல இருந்து 3 members வந்து SEBI can appoint them in the stock exchange. Then powers to regulate business of stock exchange. Stock exchange la நடக்கக்கூடிய business, for example mutual fund இருக்கட்டும் இல்ல mergers and acquisitions இருக்கணும், they see that there is no fraudulent or unfair trade practices taking place. Okay, so power to regulate business of stock exchange. It is empowered to regulate the business of stock exchange, that is intermediaries associated with security market. Intermediaries வந்து மியூச்சுவல் ஃபண்டு கூட இருக்கலாம், மியூச்சுவல் ஃபண்டோட இல்லை வேற எந்த ஒரு ஆக்டிவிட்டியாக இருக்கலாம், to see that fraudulent and unfair trade practices relating to securities and regulation of acquisition of shares and takeover of companies. So இந்த acquisition of shares and takeover of companiesல வந்து மியூச்சுவல் ஃபண்ட்லையோ இல்லை வேற எந்த ஒரு செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் ஆக்ட்லையோ செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் டிரான்சாக்ஷன்லையோ if they find any fraudulent or unfair trade practices, it has the power to regulate them. Okay, so 6 powers are listed here. So just to summarize it quickly, first and foremost, to safeguard the interest of the investors. So it can ask information from the stock exchange regarding the transaction, and they can also go for inspection or scrutiny. Then monetary penalty when they are violating the rules and regulations. Then going for initiate action in the functions assigned, that is இவங்களே வந்து they can issue guideline to different intermediaries or can introduce specific rules. Why? To protect the interest of investors. Then regulating insider trading, and then powers under Securities Act. இதில் வந்து 3 members வந்து SEBI can appoint, nominate in every stock exchange. And finally, regulating the business of stock exchange with intermediaries who are associated with mutual fund and see when there is acquisition of shares, the mergers and consolidations, that is a takeover of companies நடக்கும்போது அங்க எந்த ஒரு fraudulent or unfair practice நடக்காம பார்த்துக்கணும். So these are the 6 powers. The 6 powers, it's very easy to remember, children. So you just concentrate and write in your own simple words when it is asked for 5 marks. Powers of SEBI, we can say it is one of the important question. Thank you, children.